Hey everyone, it's Fiona and welcome back to my channel, Crystal E the channel. I hope you're all very well. Today I want to talk to you about my May reads, and I have decided to do so while having a lovely cup of tea. So, I finished 4 books in May. My star ratings range from 3.5 stars up to 4 stars with an average of 3.75. The first 3 books were read as part of a reading vlog, which I totally forgot about until about 10 minutes ago when I was thinking about what I was going to say today. And then I was like, wait, did I ever post that? No, I didn't. I never edited it. I never transferred the footage from my phone to my laptop. It's all just sitting on here. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks that will arrive. But for the time being, you can just hear about my thoughts, what I can remember a few weeks later. So let's begin with the first book of the month, Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. This is an adult dystopian fiction and it's weird. This book is weird. We are living in a world where the world is not the world as we know it, and humans are not humans as we know them. There is one human left of our kind. I think it's set. So this one guy left is called Snowman, and I think he grew up a few years in the future from now. So the world was still the same but a bit further advanced, but at this point it's just totally different. And Snowman is not really having a good time because he's really alone. He doesn't know if there's anyone else out there, or if he's just isolated from other people, or if there are no other people. He doesn't know, and we don't know either. We can assume either way, really. It's written as if there are no other people, but how can we know for sure? There are 2 more books in the series, so. But Snowman grew up with his Snowman's childhood best friend was a man called, or I guess a boy called Crake, and they grew up together. They were friends. Some of the things they did as teenagers are very uncomfortable to read about. They're not nice. They are not hobbies and activities that would be approved by society. They watch a lot of indecent content and content of people underage. That's something they do for fun. Please be aware of that. And there were definitely passages that I felt very uncomfortable reading, but we kind of flip back and forth between the present day and that past to see how did we get here, what went wrong, what on earth has happened. And basically this guy Craig, he is very intelligent, but he has some very interesting, controversial ideals, and he winds up in a position of power, in a position where he is able to make some of these ideals come true. He creates a subset, I guess, of human that he believes is superior, or his perfect human. I don't know if he just thought they would be before he created them, or if afterwards he was also happy and like, yeah, this should be the species of humans from now on. I don't know, because we don't meet him in the present timeline. We don't know what he ever really thought about it after it happened. But for whatever reason, there are now no other humans left, just Snowman, and as far as he's aware, just him and these people called the Children of Crake, who are very different to him. They think he's the anomaly because they don't know. They're basically lab babies, lab humans, and they think Snowman is this weird being that is just for some reason near them, and they bring him a fish every now and then to eat. And ooh, the sun's come out. Obviously not a great time for Snowman. He feels quite responsible for them as well, so there's that in the mix. He can't just go off and try and find things out because he feels some level of personal responsibility towards the Children of Crake. And like I said, some of the content could be really uncomfortable to read, but I do believe that was Margaret Atwood saying, hello, look what can happen when we have the wrong people in power, which, interesting, quite relevant right now, but yeah. So that was that. I gave it 3.75 stars, and I am looking forward to continuing the trilogy. I think the next book is The Year of the Flood, and then Mad Adam is the third and final book, and this trilogy is called Mad Adam. So that's that. Tea break. Next I picked up Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This is a thriller. That was all I kind of really knew about it. I know people have a lot of good things to say about Riley Sager, in particular The House Across the Lake, but I went for this one. I think I got it on Vinted, and I hated it. There were way too many film references in this, sometimes 4 or 5 to a page. I guess that was the main character's thing, but that's not my thing, so I didn't enjoy it. And I didn't love the writing, and I didn't love the plot from the 30 to 35 pages that I read. So okay, maybe I can't comment too hastily, but I just am, because I wasn't enjoying this one, so I put it down. The end. And then I picked up Of Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia. I've had this one for a long time, and for some reason I never really reached for it, but I really enjoyed this one. It is centered around a Cuban-American family. So it begins in Cuba 1866, and we are following a Cuban woman who's working in a cigar factory, and there's a lot of political unrest at the moment, and which is something that I knew literally nothing about. I am not someone who has a natural understanding of politics and history. I try really hard because I know it's really important, but it is not knowledge that sticks easily in my brain. However, I don't think I've ever really encountered or tried to understand much about Cuban history or politics. So this was really interesting for me. And we move through the generations. The latest character is in 2018, I think, and she lives in Miami, USA, but she's of Cuban descent. I liked the writing style of this, and I thought the story was really lovely. I did think it was quite sad at times, and it was kind of difficult to read at times because it goes a lot into the different struggles that people can have. So a lot of the issues with this book are obviously about political fear and fear for your safety in your country, then fleeing that country, going often through a very difficult and grueling journey to get to a different place where you think you'll feel safer, but you never fully settle because you are constantly scared of being deported. And that was a big theme in this book. I am in the very privileged position that I have never had to worry about being deported or my family being deported. It's not an issue that is prevalent in my life, my personal life. Obviously it's prevalent in the world, which means it's prevalent in my life, but not in a personal way. So truthfully, it's not something that I think about too often, and it was very eye-opening because of that. But not just that, we talk about different people's mental health struggles with addiction, undoubtedly all related, but yeah, it was pretty hard-hitting at times. I really liked it, and yeah, it got me really thinking about how lucky I am, and it made me feel really grateful actually. I did really appreciate the family tree at the start of this book because I definitely found myself having to go back and figure out whose chapter I was in. Like, there has the names at the start of the chapters, but sometimes I need to place them in the family in my mind so that I know who their mum is, who their grandmother is, you know, that kind of stuff, to help me make sure I was making sense of who each character was and where they fit into the family history and in the story. Great book. I would really recommend this one. I gave it 4 stars. And finally, I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I read this for my book club with 2 of my best friends, and this is the second book we read. It was much more successful than the first one, which was Anatomy of a Scandal by Sarah Vaughan. Terrible, but this one was not terrible. I actually really liked it. It's kind of a sci-fi thriller in some ways. More sci-fi though, I'd say. I found myself at times struggling to understand the physics, but it was a good read. The thing I didn't like about this book was the chapters were so long, ridiculously long, and it read actually really fast. So when you were in the chapter, it didn't feel that bad, but I often will look at how long a chapter is before I start it, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I can do this. They were just so long, and I didn't really like that. I recently picked up another Blake Crouch book. I haven't read it yet, but I have got hold of it, and the chapters in that seem to be quite long too, so I'm guessing that's just his style, which I don't love, but we're all different. But yeah, this was a good one. The only thing is, like I say, sometimes I struggled a bit with the science, and then towards the end I kind of found if I think about it too much, some things kind of stop making as much sense. So I just decided to stop thinking about it too much and just accept it and be like, yeah, okay, sure, that happened. Good read. I gave it 3.75 stars. I think it could be a 4. But I think I'm going to stick with a 3.75, but it's on the boundary between those two because I did really enjoy it, but I don't know that I'm going to think about it too much. And that is it. Those are my 4 reads of May. I had a lovely time. And on the 31st of May, I finished uni forever. So hopefully there will be a lot more than 4 books in the June wrap up. I'm very excited, way more time for reading, and I'm just loving my reading again. Life is good. Yay. Thank you for listening, thanks for watching, being here, all that stuff. Please feel free to let me know what your favourite book of May was. My favourite would be Of Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia, and I would highly recommend you pick it up. I will see you next time. Bye!